Good afternoon, everyone. This is Matt Moskaitis, the Director of Marketing with VSGI. Thanks so much for joining us for a few minutes this afternoon. We're excited to have Ron Cisco II with us. He's a representative of Cisco Technologies, and we're here to talk about their new collaboration offering, Cisco Spark. So we're going to record this, as always, and send it out to the people who have registered, and I'll also put it up on the VSGI website on the resources webinars section. We're going to have a Q&A afterwards, and we hope people have questions. For now, if you'd like, you can chat your questions in or into the Q&A box, but we'll also open it up for a more free session after the presentation. It should probably take 20 minutes or so. So without further ado, I'd like to hand it over to Ron. Thanks.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it. Like Matt said, my name is Ron Cisco. Yes, that is my last name. I didn't make it up. I'm a collaboration specialist here. So when you think of unified communications, phone systems, video conferencing, you name it, I'm your guy. And I specifically work with public sector. Today what we're going to do is we're going to go over one of Cisco's newer solutions, Cisco Spark, and we're going to talk about the power of it and how important it actually is. So we'll go ahead and get started. And as you can see here, when we talk about Spark, there are three main pillars. There's messaging, meeting, and calling. And I'll go ahead and start off by talking about messaging and what that looks like. It's not just Jabber or Link. When we talk about Spark messaging, it's business messaging, if you will. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here so you can see what it actually looks like. And sorry, I've got a couple of things up here. But here is my Spark application. And what this is going to do is allow me to communicate with a lot of different people in a lot of different ways. Now, with Spark, this application not only lives on my Mac, which I'm using right now, it can also work on my PC in a web browser. I can use it here on my iPhone, and I can also use it on any Android device as well. You can see that I've got a lot of rooms here. Lewis, one of our SEs on the call, has asked me a few questions here, which I haven't responded to, unfortunately. But this is an example of a one-on-one room, and I can have a conversation that's always ongoing. Now, what's nice about this is so much more than just instant message. This conversation is going to go on forever, and I'll always have that information available to me. So I'll show you another example. Here's a room that I'm in with a colleague, Josh. Or sorry, let's not use that one. Let's try someone else. Here's Jacob. I don't have a good example right here for you, but basically the point that I'm trying to get across is this information is always going to be here for us. I can always go back and take a look at that information. So whether my conversation just started today, or as you can see, it started back in July, if I shared some content there, I can always reference it. This is the same for my group messages as well. So I can go to some of these unread messages here, and I'll go to my team that I'm usually on every day. This is my collaboration team. You can see that we've got very long ongoing conversations, so I don't have to go back and check my email to reference that content. What I can also do is click this folder and see all the posts that we've had. So PowerPoints, important documents, polls that we've had, you name it. That's one of the cool features that we have with Cisco Spark. So that's what we mean when we talk about persistent business messaging. There's some other great features here as well. I'll burn through these pretty quickly, but I can look at my unread messages. I can sort by my one-to-one rooms. I can click on my favorites. So here's the room I was looking for with Josh, very long ongoing conversation. And then I've got this idea of teams. What does that mean? I've got a team called Francisco. That was an old manager of mine. Like I mentioned, I support public sector, and it's actually across the entire East Coast. So here's a Gulf States team, which is Alabama, Mississippi, Arkansas. Here's a North Carolina team, my Georgia, South Carolina team. So when I click in these teams, I've got rooms on different topics as well. So within this Georgia-South Carolina team, you can see here's a general room. Oh, sorry about that. Here's a general room, and here's the collaboration room. Now, some of these other rooms, mentoring or discussion, funding room, you name it, I don't really care about those things, so I'm not going to join that room. But you can see here's all my teams, and I've got another cool feature like mentions. So you can imagine, since I'm in so many teams, I'm in so many different conversations with so many people, you know, how does someone get my attention specifically? Well, you can see here I can ask a question, and someone can go ahead and tag my name and say, hey, Ron, I'd like you to answer this question, which is really great. It allows me to pick and choose which messages are urgent and which aren't. Now, some other cool things that I can do in here as well are screen capture. So that's pretty self-explanatory. I press this button, take a screenshot of what I want to share with my team, and they can go ahead and answer a question. And then I can send attachments. So if I want to go ahead and put a PowerPoint in there and say, hey, team, what do you guys think about this? That's available to me. What this is going to allow us to do is share content and have the whole team input and have it be an ongoing conversation. So things are moving a lot more quickly, a lot more efficiently. People can make their edits and post it back into the group, and it's a lot more effective than email. So that's what the Cisco application, Cisco Spark application looks like. I'll stop sharing my screen, and I'll come back to our PowerPoint. Now, the second pillar is meetings. Now, what does that mean? Within that Cisco Spark application, I can do video calling. So if I'm in a one-on-one room, I can press the call button, and now I can have a video call with one person. But if I'm in a room with my team, up to 25 people within that room, I can have an audio and or video call, up to 25 people. And they can join from their phone, their laptop, you name it. They're able to join that call pretty easily. Now, once we get above 25 people, what happens? Are we just going to stop it? You can't host a meeting? Not at all. This is where some of the technology that Cisco already has, being Cisco WebEx, comes into play. When we get into meetings above 25 people, a WebEx Meeting Center browser will automatically start and invite everyone on your team to join that meeting. Now, they'll have an option to join it from their phone, from their laptop, you name it, and they can decide whether they want to join it or not. But that allows meetings to be scheduled ad hoc, or with some of our integration with things like Microsoft Outlook and Exchange, we can go ahead and actually put together a calendar invite, tag it at Spark, and everyone that's in that email chain will be invited to a Spark room. And if you post a meeting, that reminder will be posted in that Spark room as well. So we've got some really cool features and functionality in there. And then finally, well, sorry, before I move on, we can talk about some other features of advanced meetings. In addition to those meetings, anyone can join anywhere from any device. So like I mentioned, your phone, your laptop, and the great part is any standards-based video endpoint, so your Cisco telepresence endpoint, your Polycom endpoint, Skype for Business. When we jump up into those meetings, no matter what device folks are using, they're able to join no problem. And it's got all the features and functionalities that you guys might be used to with WebEx. One of the other things that I'd like to touch on is the idea of a personal meeting room. With Spark and WebEx, we can create a virtual meeting room that's unique to each and every Spark named user. What does that mean? That means I've got a unique link that I can post on my email address, I can post in my signature, I can post on a website that I might have, but it's always the same. And I'm able to invite people to join my personal WebEx room and join via video, via audio, you name it. That's going to allow me to have meetings ahead of time. I can schedule meetings right now and say, hey, here's the link to my personal meeting room. Let's go ahead and join. And the same functionalities that allow people to join that meeting from wherever they want, from any device they want. So it's really going to give you the opportunity to host a meeting whenever and wherever. So from there, what do we want to talk about next? And that is Spark Call. That's what I personally think is the most important and the most powerful aspect of the Spark solution. And what Spark Calling is our cloud-based voice and video conferencing solution. Now, what does that mean? Well, we've got technology or your management system or what you would traditionally have as your PBX, but it's hosted in the cloud. And that management portal will allow you to register Cisco phones and Cisco video endpoints with no infrastructure on premise other than those endpoints. So now you don't have to have a server running Call Manager. You don't have to have a server running your video conferencing solution or recording server, you name it. All you've got to do is plug in your endpoint, whether that be a phone, like our 7800 series phone, or an endpoint like our MX800 or MX300, which I'll show you examples of those here in just a little bit as well. And it's very, very simple to manage and get those devices registered. In just a few minutes, I'll show you guys how simple that is, and actually one of our engineers, Lewis Lowther, will show you how simple that works. But just to cover some of the devices that you can register, we've got our 7800 series phones, which are our budget-friendly entry-level phones, and these phones register to Spark. And then we've also got our 8800 series phones, and these are our color phones, a little bit more advanced features and functionality. This is for your knowledge worker, someone who is, constantly on the phone, maybe a secretary or someone of that nature. And then once again, to really drive home the point, the power of Spark is being able to have any device register to the cloud and be managed from the cloud. And so what this is going to allow you guys to do is bring in video conferencing. So let's say, for example, you have a WebEx meeting scheduled, and some people want to join from their phone, some people join via their computer or VoIP audio like I've joined right now. You can also have people join from their video endpoint. So what you can see here on screen is our SX10. This is a camera and codec all in one that can plug into any screen that you might have, so an HD TV, if you've got a smart panel, anything like that with an HDMI hookup can work with this SX10. And it's powered through PoE, or you can plug it in, and within a matter of minutes, you can register this device to Spark and be joining a video call. We've also got our MX300 and 200. These are some of our mobile or smaller units. They're either a 42-inch or a 55-inch screen with a camera built right on top. Now you can mount these to the wall or some sort of other bracket. You can put them on a floor mount like here in this picture. And additionally, you can put these on wheels. And this is going to be really great for a conference room, a small team huddle room, you name it. So with Spark, we've got a lot of flexibility to bring video conferencing and voice calling right into your environment, cloud managed, and connects to the PSTN, and you have no infrastructure on-prem. So I mentioned before, this is very easy to manage and to set up, and so I'm going to pass the ball over to our SE, Lewis Lowther, to demonstrate how easy it is to manage Cisco Spark.
Hey, awesome, thank you. Thank you, Ron. So what I'm going to take everybody through now is just the daily admin interface, how simple and easy it is to add these devices, whether it's a video endpoint or a small phone or a Spark client into the Spark environment. Like Ron was saying, the biggest thing with Cisco Spark is the simplicity of it, and the fact of being device agnostic, meaning it can play across any device, have the same look, feel, and feature functionality. So what we're looking at right here is the Spark admin interface. It may look a lot different than a typical Cisco user interface. Again, Spark is about being easy to use and easy to manage. So this is just our overview page, kind of giving you an idea of, excuse me, everything that's going on within your Spark environment. If you click on users here, it'll bring up all the users that are registered in your Spark environment. Now, you don't have to add users manually one by one. What you can do is you can do batch uploads or Excel CSV files, bring these all into the environment, or integrate into Active Directory. So what I'm going to take you through is just simply adding a device into the Spark Cloud. So I'm going to go ahead and click on New Device. I'm going to select a room device, hit Next. It's going to be a new place. I'm going to call it Lewis's SX10. I'm going to hit Next. And then it's going to give me this activation code. This is all I need to register devices into the Spark Cloud. I don't need MAC addresses, don't need anything like that as you traditionally would with an on-prem solution. All I need is this activation code. Now, what I would do from here with this activation code, I can either A, take the barcode, and I can scan that using the camera of the device. Now, if the device didn't have a camera or a camera that could scan barcodes, all you would do is input this 16-digit PIN into the device, and then boom, it would register with the Spark Cloud. No more, having to scan MAC addresses into Excel files and upload that Excel file and do all that fun stuff. All you have to do with Spark is scan the barcode and/or enter the 16-digit PIN. And it's the same thing with users when you're registering a user into the Spark Cloud. When they get their phone at their desk, all they have to do, again, is either scan this barcode or scan this UI code or enter this 16-digit PIN. And now you can copy this, you can email it, to your end users, or you can print it out and hand it out one by one, whichever you find easiest to you. And again, adding users is very similar. You come over to user. As soon as this loads, you manage users. You want to say, again, you can manually add them. You can export or import from a CSV file or enable from a directory. So we're going to manually add a user. We're going to name Lewis. Oh, actually, Sam X Spark Sam X at gmail.com. And we'll hit add, and then next. And then this is where we can enable the user for the different features that Ron was talking about. So if we want to enable them for everything, message, meet, call, and then hybrid services, so integrating to an already on-prem CUCM solution or Active Directory or calendar services, we can do that right from here. Maybe this person only is enabled with calling functionality. We can do that all right from here. Next. Then we can pick the next number in line. So we can say 5111, and then assign them a full URI number. If we have that integration with IntelliPeer, in this sandbox environment, we don't because the numbers would get chewed up really quickly. But in this case right here is where you would pick your full PSTN dialable number. We hit finish. And what it's going to do, it's going to send, we added one new user, and then that user is going to get an email saying, welcome to Cisco Spark, click here to begin. They'll log in, they'll get their barcode, they'll get their code to scan or that 16-digit PIN, and they're off and ready to rock and roll. Again, Spark being built around being simple and easy to use, manage, regardless of the service you're setting up. So, kick it over back to you, Ron.
Thanks, Lou. Okay, so we've taken a couple minutes. We've given a really high level of what Spark is. We've shown you how easy it is to manage. But the question is, why is this important? How am I going to use this? I can't stress enough, this is important because this is a fully functioning phone deployment, video conferencing deployment managed from the cloud. All you need to do is buy your endpoints, and you can be up and running very, very easily. And it looks like pretty much anyone can manage it. It looks very simple to do, right? So let's give a couple of examples on where and how you can use Spark. I know some of our folks here on the call are from the federal industry, the Marines. I know we've got a lot of customers in education or healthcare and government. So I'll touch on a couple of examples on where we've seen some use cases for Spark. One example that jumps right out to me is in healthcare. I know that my wife is actually a nurse at Duke Hospital, and very often they've got to speak to doctors and specialists all the time. One of the things that Duke actually does, and they use Cisco collaboration in their environment, is video conferencing. So, for example, you could have a DX80 or a video conferencing unit of any kind be in each hospital room. And when a specialist is needed, instead of having that specialist come in or shipping or moving, if you will, a patient across town, we can video conference with a specialist from the comfort of their home or their office, wherever that may be. And you can have that video endpoint registered to Spark. In the meeting aspect, or WebEx, we'll be able to bridge the patient and the specialist together. We can also use that same experience, but instead of another doctor, we could bring in a foreign language translator, if you will. If you've got a customer or a patient that only speaks French and you need to bring someone in, now you don't have to have someone drive in or search all over for a specialist. If you've got someone, no matter where they are, you can bring them in, and WebEx and the cloud registration of your video endpoint are going to bring in high quality video, high quality audio, and now you're able to have that translator come right in. So that's an example in healthcare. In education, Spark messaging and Meet plays a huge role. Where we've seen this come in is we will have colleges and universities using things like the meeting portion or WebEx to do distance learning. Okay, that makes sense. A lot of colleges are doing that, but tell me about the message portion. What happens? Well, now our teachers can share their syllabuses with their classes, and they can post content in there. They can have ongoing discussions. So now instead of having to do discussion boards through email thread or maybe your learning management system, you can have that persistent conversation going on right in Spark. And then we can do things like breakout groups. So now if you've got your class of 25 and you'd like to break them out into groups of 5, those students have a platform that they can use on their cell phone, on their computer, whatever they're comfortable with to have a conversation and do things like group projects or small group discussions, you name it. Those are just a couple of examples that I have seen Cisco Spark deployed in my experience in public sector. But if you guys have questions or you want to hear something about how it can be deployed in your specific scenario, feel free to go ahead and ask a question. I'm going to go ahead and open this up for everyone to go ahead and shout out and ask questions if they like. Or if you want to go ahead and type out a question, that's fine as well. We'll do our best to answer. Anyone?
All right. So Ron, this is Matt with VSGI. I'm curious, do you have any typical bundles you typically see as people are trying to deploy this? Are they taking an entire organization, or are they just doing different teams and seeding it and seeing how it works and then growing from there?
Yeah, absolutely, Matt. That's a great question. And so we've actually got a couple slides for that I can touch on. There's a couple ways that folks go about this. First and foremost, this is just a meeting to kind of give you guys 30,000 feet on what Spark's all about. Ideally, what we'd love to do is have a follow-up meeting and get down into the weeds and show you how this works, how this can benefit your organization. But once we get to that point, one of two things happens. One, the organization is very much bought in. They see the value right away. And we've had a lot of colleges and universities be of that nature, and they roll this out across the whole university, and they've seen really great success. On the flip side, what we've seen as well is a pilot. And so that's going to depend on the size of your organization, but I've got a few bundles, if you will, or examples on how you guys can go ahead and get started today with Cisco Spark and seeing if it's something that would really fit on a large scale. Now, the first one is what I like to call our small bundle. And what that is 5 named users. And that gives you Spark messaging and meeting. So that persistent business chat that I showed before, as well as the audio and video meeting capability, or what's equivalent to WebEx. And that's going to allow you to meet with up to 200 people. And this list price, $2,175, is for a 1-year term. And of course, you guys can, negotiate pricing with VSGI. Now, the next level up is our medium bundle, and this is where we start really incorporating video, our SX10 cameras that we showed before. So in this bundle, we've got 5 Spark named users, we've got Spark Message and Meet with up to 200 people, and we have 2 SX10 cameras with a registration to the Spark Cloud. So what that means is you'll have everything in the small bundle, but now we're enabling Spark Call. So just like Lou showed before, you guys will get your 2 SX10 cameras. When you enter your management suite, you'll be able to register those, get your QR code or get your 16-digit code, and within a matter of 5 or so minutes, you guys will be up and running, ready to have video calls, either point-to-point calls, or if you guys want to join a WebEx meeting that's already there, or any SIP-enabled device, you name it. And we do partner with 2 companies right now, Intellipeer and Tata, and they offer our PSTN service. So you can get these video endpoints to work just like a phone as well. And that's the great part about Cisco. It doesn't matter if it's a desk phone like our 7800 or 8800 series phones, or if it's a video conferencing unit. To Cisco, it's just a phone. So no more crazy spider-looking conference room phones. Now you can have video in there. And then one of our more popular bundles has been our large bundle, and that's because it comes with quite a bit of video for a really great price. So instead of just 5 named users, we're upping to 10. We're still going to have Message and Meet, as well as Meeting Center up to 200 users. We're still going to have our 2 SX10s, but we're also going to include that small huddle room system, an MX300, and the room registrations for all of those as well. So to give a quick example of where I've deployed this specific bundle, we had a school system where the high school wanted to engage with the middle school and elementary school, so they put the MX300 in the high school building. They sent one of their SX10s to the elementary school, one of the SX10s to their middle school, and they were able to bring students together to interact with each other, have different discussions about the topics of the day, and it was all powered by Spark, and they were up and running in just a day. Matt, does that answer your question?
Oh, that's excellent.
Perfect. Well, that's all I have for you guys today. If you have any questions, feel free to shout out. I've got you all off mute. Feel free to post a question in the Q&A, and of course we've recorded this, so we'll send it out as well.
Excellent, Ron. I appreciate it. Like you mentioned, if anyone has questions or would like to speak about Cisco Spark further, please reach out to me or your VSGI account rep, and we'd be happy to have a discussion with you. Ron, I do appreciate it. This was great information. I'm going to put this up on our website, and I hope you guys can go back and check it out sometime at your leisure, or share it with other people in your company that might find it interesting.
Perfect.
Thanks again, Ron.